And then last name is spelled myself and hire a draftsman and designer. Yeah.
Yeah, 23 minutes. 15. One minute. You should have run the board. Let me know when you're going live. Well, we're live now. I'm just waiting for people to watch the show. How loud is that speaker going to be? And how loud is it? It's not going to be that loud. I have to hold here and talk. Everybody has to hold the microphone. Project loud. Yes. I'll let you know because I can control your audio. If we could ask everybody to, we're going to get ready to start.
Do we have your attention?
Thank you. The
speaker's
not really that loud, so if you want to get closer, or not, we're getting ready to start here.
Can everybody hear us in the back?
That sounds good. Perfect. Thank you all for coming, and we're getting ready to roll now.
This is Beach Talk Radio.
Good morning, Mr. and Mrs. America, and all ships at sea. This is your captain speaking.
This is our corny little opening that we do at the beginning of every show. So the people out in the audience on Facebook are watching. You can wave, yeah. Nobody will see you though. I do have a camera here.
Isn't that hair fabulous? Broadcasting live from the new hot spot on Fort Myers Beach. Wahoo Willies! It's time for another exciting award-winning episode of Beach Talk Radio. Here are your humble hosts, Kim and Ed Ryan.
And welcome to a very special Sunday show, a luxury model home show. We are just off of Sarah Boulevard on Lewis Street, or Lewis Avenue, where the old laundromat used to be, across the street here. Nice big tent set up. We have a big panel to tell you all about luxury model homes, and we're going to start it off with Dean. Dean, introduce yourself and tell everybody why we're here.
Great, thanks for coming out today. My name's Dean Milinarich. I'm one of the builders. I've been doing modular homes for 25 years, and we're excited to actually start putting Fort Myers Beach back together. We've done quite a bit in Sanibel over the last 6 months, and now we're moving here. We've got a complete design build team for modular homes. Affinity, which is who Dan is sitting to my left, is here. He's the manufacturer. I've done, 200 plus modules that I've built over the last 20 years. I did some of the first multifamily modular in the state of Florida, and so from a 400 or 500 square foot cottage to a 5,000 square foot home. We can design and build that modular. We can do it better. We can do it faster, and we can do it for less money.
And Dean, can you tell everybody the name of the company?
Sure, it's Millworth Group, and we're a building company. My lovely wife is just to my right here. She's going to talk to you about a lot of things in the design part of it. We've got probably 1,000 different plans that are sealed or have been sealed by the state of Florida. So one of the things that happens with modular homes is once it's designed and engineered, it is actually signed off by the state of Florida. So when you sign it off by the state of Florida, it limits the amount of inspections that Fort Myers Beach Building Department has to do. They're going to come upstairs about 5 times. They're going to come upstairs for your water tie-in, your electric, your HVAC, your final building, any decks that you're building on site or anything else they'll come up for. But the time savings from that side alone is huge. So that's the beauty of this. As far as what we can build in the field, there's some limitations with modular, but for the most part, we can pretty much design what you want. Beautiful stuff. You see some of the stuff that we've designed here, that Laura's designed with Affinity, and we can pretty much do a lot of things. We can do 3-story, we can do duplex, triplex, multifamily townhouses, single family, multiple different paths. So we're excited here. We're excited to start building back the community. And like I said, we think we can do it faster, better, and for less cost than what a site build plan could do. We do some site build homes, and we've done those, but from the standpoint of where we're trying to get to and where we are, the modular is like by far one of the best ways to go.
So what we're going to do today, the panel's going to say a few words, and then if you have questions, we're going to have you come up and use the microphone to ask questions. So Laura, you ready?
I am. Thank you, Ed. Hi, everybody. Again, my name is Laura Miller-Malinovich. I'm with Millworth Group. We're a design build firm for modular construction. I have over 35 years of experience in high-end residential work in the building, interior design and residential design. Very happy to be here today. I've heard so many heartbreaking stories, and we're very, very glad to be here and be in a unique position to be able to help you build back, sooner and better. My dad always told me I had a face for radio, so I guess I'm making that dream come true for him. So just to let you know, Dean just mentioned that there are thousands of designs that have already been built by Affinity. We can, for time frame's sake, we can take one of those designs and modify it to suit your lot or to suit your design interests. We also can design from scratch. So everything that you see here on these boards and on the brochure are homes that we designed in-house. And if you could just give us your, the survey or your address for us to figure out what the setbacks are and what the requirements are for the building code, we can design a home, from zero and do exactly what you want, whatever can be built on the lot. In light of everything that you all have been going through for the last several months, we have decided to suspend our in-house design fees. So our in-house design of the home can be done very quickly, and it's complimentary. So I'm here to answer any questions that any of you have about what can be designed or your specific situation. And I'm, again, just very glad to be here. Thank you for coming.
Thank you, Laura. And I think now Dan, also from Affinity, is going to say a few words.
My name is Daniel Brewster from Affinity Building Systems, and we are located in South Georgia. I don't know if anybody heard of Valdosta, Georgia, but we're about 30 minutes above Valdosta. And we act basically as a subcontractor to Dean. It's just that we do a lot more than the typical subcontractor. We'll build the house, according to what their requirements are, what specifications are asking for, to 80, maybe 90% complete. And then Dean and his company, they will take it over from there. They're going to have, the foundation ready for it, and do everything from A to Z, permits, any debris removal, etc. But we've been building homes in Highlands areas since we started in 2009, since day one. Build a lot of houses in the Keys, even Miami-Dade, which those two places are typically looked at two of the hardest places to build. And that's our normal. That's what we've been doing since day one. And I do get asked a lot of times, are these mobile homes? These are about as far as you can get from mobile homes. We are built to the same exact codes as any site-built house. And typically, we're built above, that from just a wind speed, what they call exposure. So these, once you compare these apples to apples, even with site built, I think you'll see a great bit of difference. And like they said, we can customize them. Now, that doesn't mean that's got to be some grandiose, 10,000 square foot house. Sometimes it's just, okay, what I need to fit on my lot. There's certain setbacks or a footprint that you have to stay within. So we're open to customizing in that aspect as well. which I'm sure, you'll have to deal with a lot down here. But again, we appreciate it, and we look forward to helping them.
Thank you very much, Dan. And on my right here, we have Jay and Jenny from, Jay is from John R. Wood. They're both from John R. Wood. And Jay, are you going to go first?
Yeah, hi, I'm Jay Richter with John R. Wood, Christie's International Real Estate, and I want to thank everybody for showing out. I really want to thank Ed from Beach Talk Radio, really making things happen, and such a positive just voice on the island when we've been going through all we've been going through. I want to also thank Morgan in the back, our sheriff, just hanging out, and thank you for your service, Morgan. When we got talking about luxury modular housing, the question is who are we going to do it with, and who's going to be the builder and who's going to be the supplier? Well, right away after talking to some folks, we knew that Millworth was going to be the builder, because looking at their product and what they've done, it was a no-brainer. And Dean is great and everything, but Laura can make, you give her a plan and she will make it happen. I mean, I'm going, how did they do that? Right? And I mean, this whole thing, and y'all heard Ed talk, or Dan talk, but I got a choice of, and this is what we started thinking, you got a choice of building a house in an air-conditioned building, versus in the rain, all to 180 mile an hour winds. I mean, that just made so much sense to us. And then you start seeing them around. You go down to the Keys, and what Irma did down the Keys, they didn't have enough builders to finish it. And so it's almost all modular. But here's the key. We had sold a couple of their properties, and one is on Sanibel that just recently got completed. The first thing I did when I got on Sanibel is do what? Drive by to see if it handled it. And it handled it so awesome. It's standing there just like nothing. So and our company is behind Millworth, and Affinity is the best brand, the most high quality. When Laura sends them a CAD, their engineers work and they put it together. And like they're saying, they get it done right there. And everything's checked off right there on the spot. So I'm a big believer. I'm so excited about this because we're going to speed up the process, and we are going to help redevelop Fort Myers Beach.
All right. So, Jenny, our final speaker before we start taking questions.
Hey, I'm Jenny Beach with John R. Wood Properties, and I have a big team here. Is everybody here?
Yeah.
Annie?
Yeah.
Where's everybody? Veronique?
Yeah.
Jeff, you guys want to just get together and...
Yeah.
So we're going to be the first point of contact for Millworth, and we'll be here through the whole build process from the very beginning to the very end. So anything that you guys are needing, all of us on the team. Veronique, are you back there too? There she is. Okay, very good. So this is our team, Dave, everybody here. So feel free to ask us any questions, any of us on the team, any questions. I'm the team lead for the group, but there's a lot of us here to be able to help. So.
Now, who else would you want to rebuild your home with somebody with the last name Beach? Jenny Beach. I mean, I can't trust a woman with a last name Beach. Who can you trust, right? All right. I know there were some questions from the audience. Sir, you want to come up and ask your question first? Sure. All righty. We're just going to ask you to grab the microphone so the folks that are watching on the Facebook can also hear what your question is. There you go.
My main question, I have a bunch of them, but the first one is, anytime you do anything on this stupid beach,
All right, you gotta have to hold it close.
anything you do anything on this beach, you have to get engineer and architects. Do we have to do that?
No, we do that turnkey everything. We do that all the way through the process, so
Okay, because
we'll meet with them.
they make you do that.
Yeah, so
We handle the whole process of engineering and design, including any architectural or engineering services. That's all included.
And you guys do the site prep too?
exactly.
We do.
Yeah. So you do everything.
Sold.
Basically, what's the lead time on these things?
So we can get into the lead time, but a lot of that's going to depend upon if it's a house that's already approved that we can just take and order. So, and then there's going to be a little bit of soil borings, compaction test to find out exactly if we have to do pilings or if we can just do an expanded footer grid or in columns or what we can do. But these things can happen simultaneously. So if we do design from scratch, we're talking 3 to 4 months. On top of that'll probably do it. But let's just say you were to order this house behind me here. I ordered that today. It's here end of July, beginning of August, and we're done 3-4 months later.
And the last thing I want to ask is, Florida's insurance problems.
Yeah.
Do we have problems insuring these modular homes?
I've got Richard here from RSI Broker. I've been working with him and his team for 10 years. We got a quote for $600,000 for any one of these houses, and I think it's $3,200 a year.
Richard, do you want to come up and answer that question yourself while you're here? I mean, we got all the folks here that you need. So go ahead, Richard.
So while I was running the pricing for this, you'd think a block home is stronger, so it'd be like less insurance. This pricing was within a few dollars. So the insurance company, they look at what they can lose, right? So they're counting on a block house to be the same, pretty much the same as this modular setup. And, that makes a big difference as far as insurance goes, because having a block is probably the best rating you can get. So that's something that I did notice.
Thank you.
And insurance companies are huge, and they don't calculate things, from their hip.
My understanding then that this is wood and it's not concrete.
Yeah, so the foundation would be pilings or concrete, and then depending upon where it is, whether we need a tie beam or don't need a tie beam around the top, the house is coming. So most of the homes are designed with either a double or triple 2x12 perimeter, or a double microlam, which is a laminated beam. And then by the time you put the modules together, you're going to get 4 to 8 inches, almost 7 inches of wood between them, and they're lagged together and bolted together, and then they're bolted through to an embedded steel plate that's in the port columns.
Okay, and what about financing?
Good. So we've got a couple of folks here for financing, but
Thank you.
we've got construction to perm loans on it. It's usually your construction loans are 15 to 20% equity. I think most everybody's going to have that here with the land values. The 7-1 arms, the 10-1 arms are starting in the 5s, low 6s.
Are they insured? Are they mortgageable?
Oh yeah, so we've got relationships set up with them, and they're mortgageable, and they're just like a regular home.
Yeah, let me add that real quick. The modular homes, again, they're going to be built to the same codes as a site-built house. So as far as financing, if you're going that route, or appraisals, same as a site-built home.
I was in the mortgage business one time.
So we're gonna-
finance.
We want to make sure everybody can hear you. If you want to keep going, I mean,
No, I'm done.
Okay.
I'm saying I was in the mortgage business.
he was in the mortgage
one time,
business at one time.
And it was very hard to get the mortgage.
Yeah, John, can you come up here?
John, is that John R. Wood himself?
No,
This is
There's a lot of different things.
Yeah, so
I-
guys, we've got.
I was actually hoping I could make it through one day without hearing the word insurance company and FEMA. But unfortunately, please, nobody say FEMA.
So
Go
I'm
right
John
ahead,
Mills
Bob.
with Lake Michigan Credit Union, okay? A modular home is the same as a stick-built home, okay? It's just manufactured and planned, brought to the site, and assembled there. Insurance is the same, lending's the same. It's a superior product, and we stand by it.
Yeah, Fannie Freddie, we'll treat them just as normal as anything. It's a matter of the construction loan. If you don't need a construction loan, the end financing is just as easy to get.
Yeah, I just want to reiterate that these homes are beautifully built and so solid. Many times they're built to withstand hurricanes even better than a concrete block house, even better than you see in new construction. And especially for people that have any allergy issues, or these are built in a conditioned space, like Jay was saying, and so it's that the frame of the building has never been exposed to the elements. So you don't have any microorganisms, you don't have any little critters that have made a home in there temporarily, you don't have any moisture issues, mildew issues within the house. They're very clean houses. And when I went to Affinity the first time, I saw these huge platforms. They take the drywall and lay it down perfectly flat, and then they take the studs and glue and screw them to the drywall. It is so solid and so true and plumb and straight and gorgeous. They're beautifully made homes.
If anyone has any questions, come on down. We did have one from the Facebook audience for whoever wants to answer it. How much are they to build? That's the big question right
How
there,
much is
right?
the car?
How much?
I'll take that.
All right.
So let's talk about the building on some of these for a little bit. So all the exterior walls are 2x6 exterior wall. We can do 8-foot, 9-foot, 10-foot flat ceilings. We can go with a 312 pitched roof, sometimes a little bit less depending upon where our height restrictions are and how high you're going up. We can go to a 1212, we can do a 712. This one right here is a 712 pitched roof with a flat. We can do standing seams, we can do Galvalume, we can do shingle, we can do a combination of them. We can go through all that. So I would say, depending upon your foundation, and the cost of concrete is not coming down right now, although I am finally getting calls back from some of my concrete crews that I have not really heard from recently, looking for work. So that's a good sign. But for the most part, you're going to be all in, permits, everything, on the low end, $275 a square foot, to the high end, $400 or $500, depending where you want to go. I don't think we have anything. We have a $1.25 million house in the back designed on Sanibel, and right now it's right around $400, $425. I can't see us doing more than that unless we max some stuff out. If we go up,
I can see.
depending upon what you want, we can if you want $30 floors put in or $5 floors, that's where that difference is. But our granite cost, our quartz cost, we have quartz here that we bring in from Miami. It's $50, $55 a square foot that we'll put that in. We can
install.
Right. We can value engineer that. We can have Affinity do the cabinet systems. We can do the cabinet systems. We can put in a luxury vinyl plank flooring for $250, or we can put in a luxury vinyl plank flooring for $5. We can do all different things. We use some of the building things that we do like to recommend out here is an Advantech flooring. Advantech is a resin-based plywood for your substrate, and it does not rot as easy. It's got a resin on it, and it's a great upgrade to go from our standard up. And in most homes, it's $3,000 to $5,000. Could go a little bit more depending upon how big the house is. But those are good options.
I'd like to share an example with you. We met a couple who had spent over $50,000 in a couple of years designing their dream home on the bayou in Sanibel. And when they got the bids in on constructing their design, they were looking at 2 to 3 years to build it. And it was, I think, for $4.5 million to build that. So, you're not only looking at the cost of building, but you're also looking at the time or paying for accommodations, paying for a rental or staying somewhere else during that entire 2 to 3 year period that you're building. So I designed a house for them in 1 week, complimentary, and it's going to be built for about $1.5 million and in 9 to 10 months instead of 2 to 3 years. So it's a pretty incredible, way to go about it. I mean, to get you back in sooner, which I know is really valuable to you to get back home. So,
we have another question from the Facebook. Does that cost per square foot include the foundation system?
Yeah, that's going to go pretty much your turnkey permits all the way through. Again, we're going to need to do some soil borings and some compaction tests to find out and talk with our engineers about how to build that foundation. But if we're putting pilings down, that cost is going to be in the threes. We had a question over here.
Okay, come on then. There you go.
I think you may have answered it, but what's the spread between concrete pilings and the concrete and concrete pilings?
And what do you mean by spread? How far I can, the space?
Well, you're going to do this soil compaction test,
Yes,
right? So then you're going to try to find out, okay, so maybe we need, instead of being able to do the concrete columns, you have to do pilings. What's the estimate of the cost per square foot spread between those two?
So if I'm going down about 20 feet here on the beach, every piling that I put down in the ground, and by the way, the engineers are not recommending coming up with the pilings and leaving them above ground right now. After what they've seen, they're basically saying put the pilings down, put our footers down, and then build our columns up from there.
Okay.
So pilings go in the dirt underground, columns come up out of the dirt. So if we're doing that, those pilings are going to be about $1,200 to $1,500 a piece. If we go down somewhere in the ballpark of more than 20 feet to hit the solid where we get our footing spaced, it could grow from there. It could go up to 2,500.
Okay, and then if I'm considering 2 lots that I want to build upon, and I already have a floor plan in mind, right? So do you need the survey first?
yes, we do. Well, at some point we need the survey to verify, but we can start, working on the design before.
There
we
are
get
some
to
skinny
building.
lots here.
Yes, there are.
Yeah, so one thing with,
Skinny lots.
with Fort Myers Beach, one thing we have is we got a lot of different setbacks and lot sizes. So, you know, we've had some conversations with the building and planning department, and we've got a pretty good feel for what that is and what we can do and where we can go. But again, we'll be that direct contact with them to find out if there's anything different that we need or so. But if we're looking less than 50 feet and less than 100 feet, then we really need to make sure we pick the right footprint in the house for that. But we do have plenty of homes that we can do that with, and we can do it. If there's a pool in the way, for example, this house here has a pool behind us, and we're limited to about 42 feet from our front setback to the edge of that pool. So this house is going to be designed around what the maximum we can put in here would be. So we've got to watch out. If we're leaving the pools, we've got to watch the setbacks and figure out how we can design that house.
Are you putting a house here?
That's our goal.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
I didn't know that. Well, so they'll be able to see it as it's being put on
Yes,
this lot here.
we're working in design right now.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah, just to let you know, we are working with the owners of this property. Just for fodder for conversation with our client, this home that's rendered behind me, it's called Lewis, for Lewis Street. This was designed in one day. We got to this point in 24 hours. And you know, this is a 4-bedroom, 4-bath, 2,800 or so square foot house. And we're going to be modifying that, but I just wanted to show you, you know, what's possible, because that house was designed for this piece of land that you're on right now. So,
Which way is the front of the house facing?
facing there.
It faces that way.
Mhm.
All right.
Yeah, the pool's behind us.
Is that maybe you guys don't know that, but is that a piece of property that's going to block the house, or is that an open? Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, I think that's commercial.
Oh, yeah, okay.
If I could get Dan to speak to a couple things, I'd like to get Dan to talk a little bit about how they're built a little bit more. You want to go into that? Go ahead.
No, you're good.
Okay. I want to add a little bit to what Laura mentioned as far as affinity, and you know, we are built inside a controlled environment. I'm sure you're going to see, if you haven't already seen, you're going to drive up and down these streets every day where there's going to be a house that's, you know, in the framing stage, and it's going to be rained on just about every afternoon. You know, you do not see that with our homes. As a matter of fact, you know, we buy in a fair amount of volume, so we get some benefits from that. For instance, we get, you know, the cream of the crop as far as our lumber. We can, you know, turn away anything we don't like. Every piece of lumber that's brought in, we do a moisture test on it. If it's over 13%, we send it back. So there, you know, we do have an advantage because, again, we buy in volume. But again, everything we do is in a controlled environment. From day one, nothing is rained on. So, you know, you have that confidence that you're not going to have something, you know, waiting for you to start growing mold a year down the road, or like Laura mentioned, any allergy or any issues like that. So, you know, just
Dan,
take
where are
note of that.
You're building the houses inside some gigantic warehouse or something then? Is that what you're doing?
Yeah, in my backyard.
It never rains in your backyard? Wow.
There's even snow. But you know, we have a little over 100,000 square foot facility in Lakeland, Georgia. It's about 30 miles above Valdosta. Again, it's not only are we built inside that building, everything we have is stored inside that building. So again, you know, your house, from whether it's the floor being framed to the walls, sheetrock, it never sees the rain.
So Dan, when we go online and the house goes into production, from the time a 2-module home goes into production, what's the average time for it to come out finished?
Typically, from day one, when we start driving nails, to when we're done as far as the construction process, typically 21 working days. And to achieve that, we start building every component at the same time. We start the floors, we start the walls, we start the roof, we start the HVAC. So as that progresses, each of those pieces and parts are waiting for that floor, and it just gets added to as it goes along the floor.
All right, we have a question from the audience here. Nice and close.
I talked to Dan earlier about the percentage of American-made products that are in the house. Could you be more specific, like what is and what isn't
Sure.
American-made?
And this will vary, especially, nowadays with the supply chain issues, but most of what you call the major parts, I guess you would say, the lumber, the sidings, shingles, things like that, as we mentioned, are American made. And I don't know, but I'm sure, you look deep enough, some things maybe like a light fixtures or something like that might be imported. But the major pieces and parts, and you're going to recognize, the names, as far as Hardy siding, James Hardy is a very popular product. We don't use, the Chinese sheetrock that everybody's heard, nightmares about. There are some imported Hardy type sidings, which we don't use. We use the actual James Hardy. So, the major pieces and parts, you can feel confident.
All right, we have a couple of questions from the Facebook audience, and the first one is, do you have any models that will fit in a shallow 30-foot deep building envelope?
Yes. Wow. Yes, we do.
Is that a small lot?
And 30 foot is on the smaller side. But
Which picture should they be looking at to see that one fit in? Or is that going to have
The one that says
29?
Now there's a couple that'll if they're bigger online, we can take them down a couple feet and redesign them.
All right. The other question was, have you placed any homes in towns that were hit by hurricanes after the installation?
Yes, we built a house on Dinka Way on Sanibel, and we, of course, had no idea that Ian was on its way, but it ended up being such a blessing to be able to have that there to show people how safe that house was, because it is bone dry inside, has been all the way through the hurricane and after. They had a few shingles that were ripped off the roof, but it didn't do any structural damage to the building. It had no flood damage. It had, it had some stuff sticking to the sides that had to be cleaned off, but for the most part, it was unscathed. And it's been an amazing billboard for us on Periwinkle. You see it, as you're going down Periwinkle on the right, and you come on the island, and it is just straight and true and unharmed.
So if people want to go see that house as maybe a model or something, they go down Periwinkle.
They should call John R. Wood and set up an appointment to see
I see. You're not allowed to just drive over to Sanibel and take a look at it.
You can look at it from the road.
I see. You let them inside. I see. Very nice. Very nice. Go ahead.
So one of the things that I wanted to mention is everybody's got specific questions about the details of maybe a property that they have. And one of the things that our team has worked with Millworth on is asking the right questions to size up so we can take you through the initial process. And that's our goal. You met Annie and Dave when they first came in. You got Jenny to my right. We got Veronique and Jeff with his 4-wheel drive Jeep right out there. We'll do whatever we can to meet with you, size it up. We got to keep them building. We got to keep them producing the CAD drawings and things like that. So we're ready to do that for you. Also, in addition to John, who talked with you, financing, see Randy at Fairview Lending. He's back there at a table. Also see Laura. I talked with her. Laura at Guarantee Rate. So here's folks that are getting it done, and also Morgan. So we got the vendors there.
Shauna Handler from New Res Financial.
Oh, yes, and Shauna from New Res Financial is here too to help. So all good stuff. Thank you, Amy. Just wanted to mention that.
Ed, can I add a few things here?
Your show. You can add anything you want. If anybody has a question, come on up and we'll come on down.
Yeah, so one of the things that we have, and I'm going to stand up for a minute because I've been sitting too long. One of the things that we really want to try to do here, guys, is we want to get specific. We want to know if it's a rental. We want to know how you live in it, how you want to build back. We want to know how you're going to use it so that we can help create that same environment that you're used to. So anything you can get to that. So one of the reasons we teamed up with John R. Wood was just to make sure that we had the resources to ask those questions so that we can evaluate your lots, what you want, what you're looking for. We can schedule appointments with you. We can schedule Zoom calls with you. But if you're coming to us, we're not going to get anything done. So please don't think of them as just a real estate company. They are trained on what we're looking for. They know what we've done. We've spent countless hours going over what we're needing to make sure we get to the points. And so the more you can give us an information, the better and more organized that Laura and I will be in our design team. We have project managers, some are here. We have 7 or 8 full-time crews that are doing all the things. We have all our subcontractors. We have everybody lined up to help to make sure that we do this the right way. But if we can start with what you're looking for, what you had, what size lot you have. If you have surveys, that's great. If we have a pool, we need to know that. We want to know if you want to go 2 stories, 1 story, any of those things. If it's a duplex, if it's not, anything to help us so that when we meet with you, our time together is talking about how we're building back and designing your home. And we're putting everything back together. That's really the key to what we're doing. So please, before you leave here, you're welcome to talk to us today. Get through what you need. Talk to Dan. We're here for a while. Our goal here is to answer your questions, let you know that we can help, we can do it, probably for what less than others are doing. You know, I'm sure there are other modular companies out here that are trying to vie for your business. We've been doing it for 25 years. It's not something that we're just taking lightly here. So we're here to help. We want to get through these things, but if we're not available to talk to us today, please reach out to John Art or one of the team and talk to them so that we can at least start your process back. It doesn't cost you anything to do that. We're not going to hound you. All we want to do is we want to know if we can help, then we'll move forward. If we can't help or you don't think it's an option for you, then we'll part ways. Our goal is to help build back this community. We're starting on Sanibel. We've got permits in on 5 homes there already. 9 units on the Gulf of Mexico that were wiped off. We've got another 12 units that we're doing little cottages. We're talking about another 6 units. So our goal here is to really grow and find out how you guys want to live in these units, what these are going to be, what they meant to you, and how do we want to live going forward. That's really our goal.
Yeah, to piggyback. Okay, to piggyback on that just a little bit. So when you contact us, you can contact us. We have a huge intake form that we've been going through to answer all of those questions. We want to get to know who you are, what your goals are, how you've been affected by the storm, and how we can get you back home as quickly as possible. So those are our goals. We'll be that first point of contact. Like I said, everybody here, that's with us, with my team. If you have another real estate agent, feel free to have them give us a call as well, and we can help walk through that process as well. So feel free to either contact us or have them contact us directly. So anything else we wanted to add to that? The questions that we really want to find out, I think it's really important to get to know who you are. So what you're using that property for, is it a rental for you? Is it your single family home? Do you live here full time? Do you live here seasonally? What are your goals with the property once it's rebuilt? These are all questions we really want to answer. Do you want a pool? Do you already have a pool? If you have a survey, we really need to see that survey. That would really help the process quite a bit, right? Anything else we need in that process? No, we're good? Okay, very good.
So I have a question. Sorry. My questions are irrelevant compared to the questions from the audience. Go right ahead. Jump right in there. She forgot a question.
So my concern is looking at all the damage that's happened in the hurricane. It seems that the wooden flooring or the subfloor, whatever it is all damaged versus the concrete subfloor. Is there a reason that happens or a way to avoid that?
Sure, maybe I can address that. So part of that is that the height of that was there. But if we're using most of the flooring wasn't damaged, but it's probably OSB, which is your least expensive particle board flooring. It just depends. I haven't looked at it that closely. But if we go to an Advantech, it's resin based. It's gonna maintain that water or repel that water, and you won't have any challenges with that. But we're gonna have to go up here. Beachfront's gonna have to be at 19 to 20 feet above, and then everything else is gonna be.
But I've seen on the beach that even in 21 feet, that they got damage on that.
Sure, if you're taking waves on the beach, whether it's cement or not, some of the product got damaged.
So then what happens? You have to redo the subfloor after?
Well, hopefully we're going to put it up high enough now we don't have that surge.
And then do you coat it with any kind of plastic, like resin coating for waterproofing?
So we can. There's several products we can put underneath to maintain that. We can You could fiberglass it, you could do all kinds of stuff, but there's different products that we could do. We could do
Because it
cement board.
doesn't say, like, it says the wind speed, but doesn't say the flood damage on any of these houses, like what you would avoid versus a concrete subfloor.
Yeah, so I mean, there's several houses that I looked at that were concrete that it sustained some damage on stairs and other ones. It just depends on how they were built. But yeah, we just don't have the option of doing concrete floors.
No, oh, okay.
Yeah. Thank you. But I think we can make it as strong or pretty close to that.
Just by a show of hands, how many people are rebuilding or considering rebuilding from the ground? There's a lot of business in this town, and that's just a small showing of everything. One of the questions that I had was the residents, a lot of residents run into issues with permitting. You know, they submit a permit, and then the permitting department sends it back, and then they fill something else out, and it's a go back and forth thing. Is the residents' responsibility to do the permitting, or do you guys have somebody that understands the Fort Myers Beach permitting process?
Yeah, so it's
Did anybody understand?
so the nice part is, again, the house has come sealed from the state of Florida, so they're looking at a foundation plan, and they're looking at how things tie in. They don't even have to approve or stamp or do anything with the house plans from Affinity. They're signed and sealed from the state of Florida. They're going to look at where the tie-in is. They're going to look at it. We're going to have half the inspections of what we need because they were already done at the factory. So from that process, we'll handle the whole thing. We have a permit team that helps us with that. We'll get going on it. And there's a lot to it, guys. Right now, our soil borings right now are taking 3 to 5 weeks to get soil borings back. You know, surveys are taking 4 weeks, 3 to 4 weeks. So there's some of that process. The good news is, as the house is being designed and signed off on the state of Florida, we're working on all the permit process, the foundation plan, and everything comes along. So our goal here is that after 3 or 4 months, we have everything from Affinity in the state of Florida signed off, ready to go, and we have our whole site work and everything ready to go for permitting. Permitting right now, if you give them a good package, is taking 2 to 3 weeks. That's the problem, is do you give them a good package? So one of the things we do and that we've done on Sanibel is we have pre-meetings with planning. I'm on the phone with them or on Zoom calls with them once or twice a week, asking questions, making sure that we cover the things, that we don't get stuck in any part of that process that's going to delay us. But yes, we will work through that entire process to make sure that comes together.
Are you saying you need fewer permits because the house is built somewhere else or built all together?
So
fewer inspections. Yeah, it'll be typically fewer inspections because, again, we're a subcontractor on steroids, so to say, for Dean. So it's very similar with the, I guess, aspect of the financing if you're doing a construction loan. You know, instead of having 20 draws, you got 10 draws. Same thing with the inspections. Since we do 80% of the house at our location, you know, the building permit offices, inspectors love that because it takes the liability and the burden off of them. You know, all they come do is, you know, inspect the footers of the foundation and the strapping from the foundation to the house and some utility connections, things like that. We've already done and taken that burden off of them, again, for 80% of the house.
Yeah, we did one of our first homes on Sanibel, and I kept asking the building department, "Where's all the inspections?" And they said, "Well, you don't need any." And I said, "No, I'm pretty sure there's a couple inspections that I think we should have." And so when I finally went down to the building department, they go, "Oh, you're right. You should have these 2 inspections." And I'm like, "Okay, can you add those for me so we can get those signed off on?" So, you know, we just do things the right way. You have planned meetings. If you're just a smaller contractor and you're trying to throw in plans and you're not understanding what they need to do their job better or more efficiently, that's really what it is. My whole meeting at the building department was, how can we help to get from point A to point B to make it better, and how can we go through that process? That's really all it is. So we manage that. There are always bumps in the road, don't get me wrong, but we're going to manage that process.
Leslie wants to know where they can get information on larger homes, 3,000 to 4,000 square feet. Obviously, Leslie has a lot of money. She wants to spend it with you. So where can?
Yeah, so that's going to be a custom design. So we've got a 2,900 square foot. We've got a 4,000 square foot in the works right now. We got 2,800 square foot. So that's going to be a custom design. And so they'll just need to reach out to one of the John R. Wood team members, and we'll set up an appointment and do a Zoom call with them.
Any elevators?
Absolutely. Most of the homes are designed with an elevator, whether you want to add it now or there's a closet there that it can be converted later to an elevator.
I've never been in a house with an elevator. I should get out more. ADA compliant options. That's a question from the audience.
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, so again, everything is customizable, but typically the minimum size door is a 2'8" door, which will allow passage for a wheelchair. You know, some of the houses are not designed for ADA compliance if they don't have an elevator, for obvious reasons. But yeah, we can make them ADA compliant, absolutely.
Any idea when this one might start on this property? I mean, what are you shooting for?
We're still in the design development stage with this client, so after this meeting, we'll be getting together with them and figuring out what their scope of work is.
Anyone? We don't want to leave any questions unanswered from the audience here or on the Facebook. If you have any questions out there. Oh, that was an insurance thing. Go ahead, John. I think you were ready to jump in there and say something, or anybody? Oh, sir, come on down. We should just give you a spot at the front table. Are you a Yankees fan?
I think so.
The team better pick it up a little bit, sir.
I guess I want to know, is there a list of what's included in all this?
Great question. Yeah, we have spec sheets, but pretty much we're gonna put in our initial numbers, we're gonna give you pricing for finished everything. So whether that's trim, 8-foot doors, luxury vinyl plank, we may put in an estimate that it's $3.50 for the price of a luxury vinyl plank floor, but you may want to upgrade to 5, or you may want to downgrade to 2.5. But everything.
You do appliances and everything?
We can. Yeah,
That's what I want to see.
Yeah, I usually put a placeholder in there for appliances and then let you guys buy the appliances, because it's easier than us trying to transfer the warranties to you. But we'll put them in our numbers. The numbers include that.
Would you prefer he bought your appliances, or you did it yourself?
No.
Yeah. You want to have one package just coming right to your property. Just
We
drop
can do
off the house right
Dean
there.
said he likes carrying upstairs.
I
That's
do.
what I heard.
I do. I like carrying them upstairs.
How are you doing with Fort Myers Beach with this construction?
What do you mean? How we
I
do?
fear that.
Yeah, I tell them. I mean, here's the difference, guys, is that whatever happened in the past, as long as we follow the rules, then they're
They
going
don't even know what.
Well, that's not necessarily true.
They're working at it. They're
So
working
I
at
will
it.
tell you that our meeting with planning went very smoothly. We went through the numbers and we'll work through that. Now, there are some non-conforming lots, cottages, that they just passed the cottage rule that will allow you guys lesser setbacks, and will allow us to maybe build a little bigger or a little different home there. And so those non-conforming lots are gonna have to be looked at a little bit more detail. Yeah, but we do duplex, triplex, townhouses. We can do 2 units up, 2 units down.
Sir, where do you live? What street are you on?
Andromar.
Undermont. Got it. Thank you for all your questions.
I have a
Appreciate
lot
it.
of.
Did you guys see that fire yesterday on Beta Beach? Wow, that was crazy yesterday.
Is that somebody didn't get a good insurance payout?
I don't know what it was. No, they were so close to reopening that condo building.
That's every-
So,
Richard, did you have a question?
come on down, Richard. Richard's really got the summer shirt rocking right there. Those sailboats, yeah, very
I
nice.
did
Very
not know
bright.
the venue. I thought I was going to like an open house. You did not
I
tell
feel like
me.
you should be wearing a tie looking at how dressed up you
No,
are.
I can't wear a tie for Myers Beach. So, so you guys can navigate the permitting process because you have experience. You can't really control a lot of the things. A lot of that's out of your control. So if you take that out of the equation, how much faster is it to build these or get it completed versus like the traditional?
Yeah,
way?
so like I said, if I ordered this house right now and we went to building permit, because I can have a foundation done for this plan in about a week to 2 weeks, a little bit longer if we're on pilings. So if I order that house today, I'm getting it sometime in July, and 90 days later, I'm finished with it. So really could go that quickly. So the permitting, I just have to have the foundation done by the time the house shows up. So if the house shows up July 15th, then I need to be done by July 15th, or we got a house sitting somewhere. So, and sometimes that works out where we just can't get it there that week, and it's a week later. It's shrink wrapped, it's protected, it's not going anywhere. So we'll bring that down. We structure our cranes, our set crews. I got set crews that are 40 years in the family business doing sets. We have specialty. They'll come in. We'll bring these up with a crane. We'll set them in place, and it's amazing. We'll be dried in pretty much the same day.
Come on down.
This is quite intimidating, standing this close to a question, but we're going through having an addition made at the moment, and the estimate is never the estimate. And since the hurricane, these prices, literally what we've paid has gone 40% over what we initially had. Now, I understand all the excuses of material increases and all the rest of it. As far as I can see, that's probably 8 to 10%, but we're paying 40% over. So how do we know that the estimate that we get is going to be close to the end?
So where are you from?
From England.
England.
Love the accent. So let's talk about that. So, and part of our design build fee and everything we have is a flat fee for us. So we'll have a flat builder fee in there for turnkey for everything. As far as the costs go, so there are some costs that can go up and down. Affinity reserves a right to adjust their costs through the building process, even after we put down a deposit. For example, they had a 3.5% decrease in October. We had a 1.5% increase from them in November or in January for different windows. We're not seeing the pressures that we saw in the past. There's certainly things that we can do there, but you know, again, there's going to be some estimates done early until we get some soil borings back. Because I'm going to tell you I can build the foundation and it's going to be this price. But if I can't build the foundation away because of the soil borings coming back, you know, there's some things. I do try to put in a contingency fund in each home so that we don't get those surprises. But, you know, most of the crews that we use are our crews. They're subcontractors, but they come every Friday for a check. So I pretty much consider them our crews. Our foundation guys, you know, we're pushing on them to do better and better pricing. You know, we're letting them know we've got work and we can do that. So we're going to try to keep it to a realistic number so we don't have any big surprises. We'll know usually if you pick an existing floor plan that's there, I can have a quote from Affinity in a week to 10 days on what you guys want. And then we'll spec it out in-house with anything else. If we're doing the tile work, then we'll give you, say, okay, the wall tile in the bathroom is $3. The shower floor is $15. We're going to use quartz, and it's $60 a square foot for quartz. And then if you want to go up or down from that, that's where the numbers are. We'll give you an allowance for kitchen sink for $300. If you want an 8-inch widespread in the bathroom, they're $162. If you want to go to a black matte finish, it's going to go up. So there's going to be some specifics in there that we can really nail down to. But I think we're going to be really close to no surprises, no big surprises. The foundation is the biggest one.
So I wanted to thank Commander Bowden. Is it Bowden or what Bowden? Bowden. Commander Bowden for being here from the Sheriff's Office. Does anyone have any questions for Commander Bowden about the recovery effort or for anything from the Sheriff's Office while he's here?
Well, you're very fortunate to have Carmen Casino as a sheriff. He started as a law enforcement career besides New York, down here in Naples. And John R. Woods was he out there great then, great today. We have a great relationship. Nice thing about us talking to the gentleman here is security.
They can't hear you. Start all over. Start all over.
Start that over.
Start over again?
Yeah, please. Yes, I can hear you online.
There's not a test on it. I'm Commander Morgan Bowden, Lee County Sheriff's Department. 48 years. I'll see that. Carmen Racino is our sheriff. He's done a great job down here at Fort Myers Beach. You know, we're very involved with it. Another thing I talked about is the security for construction equipment. Seems like we have a real problem. People still construction, as Mr. Sinclair back there will tell you. This is nice, it's secure, cameras on it, they back up everything else. So just the loss of stone drywall, 2x4s is epidemic down here in Lee County and Collier County. But down Fort Myers Beach, Carmen Racino is a great sheriff. You have Tim Layler, he is a captain down there. He's got 97 guys that will work the patrol down here. In Lee County now, we're number 3 in the nation for security. We're number 1 in the nation for school resource officer program. So the sheriff is technology everywhere. We have about 400 cameras. We now do our own DNA. There's only 3 other departments that do DNA, facial recognition, fingerprint recognition, and the guys do a fabulous job down there. And Carmen, I know, has had a great relationship with John R. Woods for years, at least 20-some years. If you have any questions about the Sheriff's Department, about what we're doing, one other thing we're doing down here out in Fort Myers Beach, Procter & Gamble sends us a semi-truck full of 40 to 50 pallets each month.
much of it gets distributed down here to your 2 hurricane locations down here in Fort Myers Beach. And the sheriff runs that. For Procter & Gamble, it's called Matthew 25 out of Cincinnati, Ohio. And we send us about $1.5 million worth of supplies. Cleaning supplies, you name it, we got it. We tried to get it down here. Ona McGregor, North Fort Myers, everybody in Lee County was affected by the storm. Any questions? Yes, sir. I'm on my 48th year at Lee County Sheriff's Department. All right. Technology, we have like 400 cameras. And then one thing you notice that be serious about animals. Be serious about crimes. If you're a bad guy here, you're going to go to the Slander. You're going to Carmen Motel. If you're an animal, and he makes it pretty clear who he is, and he's always available. You can call, you can talk to that guy. You can talk to our sheriff. And he loves Lee County, and he's a great guy to work with. Other questions?
Thank you.
Doodah.
Appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you.
For those of you that know Captain Later, you know how much he loves the Fort Myers Beach community. He certainly is a part of the community all the time, and he loves this community, and he'll tell you that if you stop and talk to him. So are there any other questions for our panel here? Yes, sir, up in the front row.
Yes, I have a follow-up question to your elevator. What's a ballpark figure for either one stop? We lost our house right across on the beach, across the street from here. Right. And we're looking at maybe a one-story, living area, but also possibly 2. What's the difference in the pricing?
They start in the 12 to 15 range, and they're going to go up to 30 to 40 to 50 if we're going up that high. So the higher we go on that first level, the more the costs are going to be. So I'm going to guess if you're on the beach, you're probably looking at 30 to start with just to get to the first level.
Yeah, so it's not only that, but it's also level of finish and the quality of the elevator too. There are very simple lifts that can be installed just to do the trick of getting you from one floor to the other, but they can be it's like how much is a car? They're bargain models and expensive ones. So.
And then another question: with getting permitted, because we are on the beach side, we have to get a DEP permit, and I'm hearing they can be drag on forever.
I've been on the phone with them 3 times in the last 2 weeks. They've been very helpful.
How long is it usually
30 to 60 days.
Well, that's what people have some bad information.
Yeah, we're doing that at the same time, and again, it's providing them the right information. Yeah. If you don't know what you're doing, you're gonna slow that process down.
What kind of permit do they need on the beach side from DEP?
So anything on the beach is a Department of Environmental Protection, and we want to make sure that it's not injuring any of the environmental sensitive areas.
I see.
So they do a quick report or a 60-day report, and they are expediting it for Fort Myers Beach and Sanibel.
Yeah. Any other questions, please? I'm sure there'll be questions afterward. Laura, did you want to say anything? Laura Sanchez? Laura, I take a little liberty here because Laura's a sponsor of our show, so I'm calling her down to see if she wanted to say anything. Laura Sanchez, everybody.
All right, Laura.
Hi, Ed. Nice to meet you. The only thing I was thinking about when I was standing up there and adding was, they touched on them a little bit when it comes to draws. There's less draws for this product. When you do construction financing, you have a fee for every time you go out and make one of those draws. So, we can do 3 draws and get these things done, which is a lot less than a normal construction process. So anytime you can shave a little money on your project is a good thing. So that's the only thing I was adding, this versus a particular home. It's much less draws and much less money. So,
Yep, very good point.
Thank you, Laura. Any final questions before closing statements and closing arguments? John? I'm sorry? Mr. New York Yankee has another question.
Okay.
What was that?
So we've got Jenny and her team and Veronique and Danny and these guys at John R. Wood. If you could give them a little bit of information today, then they will set up a call with us. What I really don't want to do is have a call with you guys and we don't know anything about your property. We don't know anything what it looks like. I don't have a footprint. I don't have anything. And then I'm just sitting there and I can't really answer your questions. So if we can get some of the data, and then they will set up a call with us, whether it's a Zoom call, whether it's a meeting, and then I think we can expedite this that was our fear about coming to Fort Myers Beach, is how we were going to help you guys and not have you get frustrated. So it's really, that's why we brought them in as part of this team, because we couldn't do it on our own.
Yeah, and today we can get some basic information from you. If you don't have time to go through everything today, then we'll make a phone call with you this coming week. We can schedule a time with you to go over everything. And then we will get together with Millworth Group and then make that appointment for you, okay?
Also, please, if you guys can, we brought in some food trucks. We told them that you guys would be hungry. So if you want that or a smoothie or anything, please help them. They were nice enough to come out here and support us and support this effort. So if you got anything back there, and we'll be around here as a team, you can come out and help us anytime.
The Nutella crepes cannot be missed. They're fantastic.
And that's Leo crepes? What is that? What kind of, is that like a pastry?
It is like a very, very thin French pancake.
I see.
And they can be savory or sweet.
I need to get out more. I need to have more crepes and get on an elevator in somebody's house. There's also Paradise Smoothies over there. And I'm sure the folks are going to be sticking around to answer questions. So why don't we sign off here and so you guys can answer questions.
Thank you so much.
Thanks so much. All the vendors and everybody will be here also.
Thank you all so much for coming, and thank you all for watching. And if you have any questions for our, thank you. If you have any questions, you can email them to me or type them in the chat box, and I will pass those questions along to the folks that were here today. So thank you all very much for tuning in. Thanks for coming out here. And tomorrow night we are going to have an interview at 6 o'clock with Dan Friedman from Moss Marina. Before our show with the mayor. So we're going to find out what's going on with the new development in Moss Marina and then mayor. So thank you very much, and we'll see you.
Just finished $30,000. I'm not looking for $30,000.